Okay, Christina here to listen to some music, and today's music selection is Ripples by Genesis. This will be the third reaction to Genesis on the channel. The first one was a direct request for Return of the Giant Hogweed. That was very colorful and adventurous. The second one was the poll winner over on Patreon and for channel members. That was Firth of Fifth. Of course, that one's a masterpiece. So this one is another direct request. Apparently Ripples is from their Trick of the Tail album that came out in 1976. The group started in 1967. By 1976, I believe this is when Peter Gabriel had exited the group. So that means I'm going to be hearing some Phil Collins. Is he going to be singing and playing the drums at the same time? We'll have to see. But I have not heard Genesis yet without Peter Gabriel. So this will be interesting. And what might else be interesting about all of this? I am a professional, classically trained musician, instrumentalist, vocalist, composer, and professor. So we talk about all different aspects of this music, how it's composed, the form, some of the theory, the instruments that are used within it, and how we relate to it. Why do we like it, or why do we not like it? So let's dig into this one. I've had fun with the other two so far. So no more delaying. Let's listen. Okay, we're ready. Here we go.
Blue girls come in every size. Some are wise and some are otherwise. They got pretty blue eyes. For now a man may change. For now her face looks strange. Looks strange, looks strange. Marching to the promised land, where the honey flows and takes you by the hand, pulls you down on your knees, while you're down a pool appears. The face in the water looks up, and she shakes her head as if to say that it's the last time you'll look like today. Sail away.
Ooh, okay. This is so pretty. This is really beautiful. I'm getting swept away in this. It's very light, but it's also thick and rich. I'm hearing so many guitars, and the piano part is really cool because it's all kind of plinky-plunky up here, and then you hear the big bass notes in the lower octaves of the piano. Love that sound. His voice, I do recognize Phil Collins' voice. So some of you know that I am a kid of the 80s, so I heard some of the popular music back in the day. I didn't really get into the popular music scene until like the very late 80s, early 90s. And then that's after that is like around 93, 94 is kind of when I dropped out and just mainly focused on classical stuff with just a few exceptions here and there, like Radiohead, a few other things, Bjork. I love Bjork. But the only thing that I really know of Phil Collins is just a couple of his big hits that he had in the 80s. Were there some in the 90s too? I think so. So I recognize his voice. Oh, didn't he do a Disney movie too? Yeah. So I recognize the timbre, the tone of his voice. But I guess there is a sensitive side to him, and there's a lot of beauty in that. So I guess that's what we're hearing here. So, okay. Gorgeous so far. I'm going to back this up and hear this lighter, but it's still thick and rich, but this lighter texture here and what it's headed into. I'm really excited to see where this is going. Okay, back it up a little. Here we go.
As if to say that it's the last time you'll look like today. Sail away, away. Ripples never come back. Down to the other side. Sail away, away. 1,000 ships is sinking fast. That happens, you know. The water gets below. Seems not very long ago. Lovelier she was than any that I know. Angels never know it's time to close the book and gracefully decline. The song has found a tale. My, what a jealous fool is she. The face in the water looks up. She shakes her head as if to say that the blue girls have all gone away.
Okay, it is just absolutely maintaining that level of beauty. The consistency here is very reliable and safe. There's something safe about this, but at the same time, there are some twists and turns within the time signatures, the counting, and also some of the chord progressions. And some of them, at one point, I kind of smiled because it sort of reminded me of almost a Broadway show kind of movement between the chords. But there's something really emotional about that. That's why they exist in Broadway shows, because it pulls you along in the storyline. And in classical music, sometimes that's a no-no. We would tend to call it a little cliche, but in many other situations, environments, it is exactly what is needed. And I think that that's what is needed here. It sustains, it helps like sustain the fabric of the beauty with this piece. Okay, and so I think we're talking about like ripples in the water. I'm hearing something about water. I heard something about water. Okay. I think I heard something about a ship, I think. So I think that's kind of what it's representing. And I absolutely, my mind went right there. So it could also be like ripples in time or in a storyline, but it's definitely working on me here. So, okay. Again, back it up just a little bit. We kind of came to a lull in the piece and it's right in the middle. So I think it's needed. But where are we going next? We're only halfway through. Okay, back it up and here we go. feel like there's anxiety here. But also there's like boom, boom. And I'm picturing now like being out on the water and in a ship, and all I can think of is, I think it's called the doldrums, where you're just kind of stuck, like there's no wind and you're just stuck out there in the water. I feel like we're working up to something, but we're just kind of sitting here. And it's not boring. We know we're headed somewhere. We just don't know when. And it's so different from the first half. It still is kind of related because the texture is still light, but very thick and rich. It's just, guitars and some synthesizer sounds, and then a whole lot more shushing of that kind of shushing sound of the percussion. It makes, I was like doing this because I was like feeling anxious. So where is this taking us? All right, let's find out. Here we go. All right, the wind picked back up. It was kind of all of a sudden, right when everyone was like about to lose it. Like, I can't take another day of just sitting here. The wind picked up. And then you see the ship sailing away. I do hear him saying, sail away, right? I will look at the lyrics in just a second. But again, just the way my brain works, I tend to hear the music first and then the lyrics. It's like, because I hear so many of the instruments, that's what my career is. My training is to, as a transcriptionist, where you write down the music, and a composer of instrumental music, orchestral and choral music, my ear hears all of the instruments all at once. And so I'm so busy picking all of that apart that the lyrics sometimes take a back seat. So I'm sure to bring them back in. But sometimes I'm hearing so many instruments that I can't do both. I sort of have to pick one or the other. Some words do get through. And every once in a while, I hear every word in a song. You just never know when it's going to hit. It just happens. So, shall we? Let's take a look at the words. I heard something about pretty blue eyes or something. Blue girls come in every size. Some are wise and some otherwise. They got pretty blue eyes. For an hour a man may change. For an hour her face looks strange. The face in the water looks up, and she shakes her head as if to say that it's the last time you'll look like today. Okay, sail away, away, ripples never come back. Gone to the other side. Sail away, away. The face that launched 1,000 ships is sinking fast. That happens, you know. Seems not very long ago. Lovelier she was than any that I know. This seems like longing for something or missing something. Something has come and gone. The face that launched 1,000 ships is sinking fast. Is this talking about like getting older? And to hang on to your youth because it goes by fast? It doesn't necessarily seem like someone is regretting things necessarily, but just making sure that they're looking back fondly on their past, but hopefully not dwelling on it too much. Well, if you're reminiscing, the first part of this absolutely fits that. I think one journey that I really enjoyed through this piece was that of the piano. I loved how it was taking part in the upper part at the beginning with all the little plinky plunky stuff, and then it had those amazing lower chords. I loved those. That might end up being my favorite thing about this song. And it happens a handful of times. That's kind of nice. Not too many times, just enough. But then at the end, it was like full on big chords. Like something like that. And I loved that journey with it, that it really kind of turned into almost like a piano concerto, like something of Rachmaninoff that you would hear. But in the beginning, it was lighter. Let's go back to the beginning and hear this lighter sound. It starts with the guitars. I love how they mesh together. Was there like a harpsichord sound in there too? I couldn't tell. Sometimes a guitar, like an acoustic guitar, depending on how it's played, can almost sound like the strings that are being plucked for a harpsichord. Okay, let's hear the beginning again.
Bluebells come in every size. Some are wise and some otherwise. They got pretty blue eyes. For now a man may change.
Beautiful.
For now her face looks strange. Looks strange. Looks strange.
See, that's one of those chord progressions I was talking about. It seemed like it was minor, it was going to stay minor, but then it kind of changed. It took just a step to the side, and all of a sudden we're in a more major sounding key. And where are we headed? We're trying to tell a story here. So, yeah, a little bit of sadness, kind of thinking of something in the past that we're kind of dwelling on it somehow, but we're not going to dwell on it too much. We're going to also smile about it. Look for the positive in the situation.
Marching to the
So dreamy.
land,
Oh, did you hear that?
where the honey flows,
The low notes.
takes you by the hand, pulls you down
It's gonna
on
come back.
your knees, while you're down.
I want it to come back. We're waiting.
The face in the water looks up,
Now we're dwelling a little bit more.
and she shakes her head as if to say that it's the last time
There we go.
you'll look like today. Sail away.
And so we have that lowest one. Yeah, so good. I want to go back and hear that one more time.
Look strange, marching to the
You can hear it down there, just
promised
quietly.
land.
There. Did you hear that? So that is E and then B natural. It's one of the lowest notes that you can get on a keyboard. You don't get to play those very often. And here they're using them with all the light stuff. And so that juxtaposition of all this up here and then those notes down there, it immediately made my instrumental ear perk up. I was like, what is this? And it gets louder and more significant as we go.
Where the honey flows and takes you by the hand, pulls you down on your knees, while you're down a pool appears. The face in the water looks up, and she shakes her head as if to say that it's the last time you'll look like today.
So good. Okay, so sailing, sail away. That sounds like it. It sounds like let's sail away, sail away. Isn't it amazing how music can do that? How it can represent things like that? The imagery in your head, those emotions. Okay, so another thing with this piece is that it really reminds me of, for instance, Cézanne's Carnival of the Animals. There are a couple of movements in there that are just really plinky-plunky like that as well. It also sort of reminds me of some impressionistic classical music, so like Debussy, Ravel, just a lot of dreaminess in there. And with those composers I just named, Debussy and Ravel, we hear a lot of whole tone scales. We are not hearing that. Whole tone is when every single note in the scale is a whole step. So we get this kind of a sound. So it's not quite that sort of dreaminess, but it's definitely dreamy, and it all has to do with the arpeggiation of all of the overlapping. So arpeggiation is just you take a chord and you spread it out one note at a time. So like that. And you just hear that over and over again with the guitars and the harpsichord, if that's what that is, and then the piano. But then it does rev up and we get some big sound, big dynamics. So let's hear now the transition. This one took me by surprise. It is sort of like the doldrums. I don't know. So it's like a definite A and then B and then a quick return to the A section. It was very quick, but it was almost just like classic A and B. But then there is that little return, the little end cap. But let's just hear that middle section again. It is quite different. Beautiful transition though. So a lot more piano. The drums. That reminds me of For the Fifth. That guitar sound, but it's weird. It's like a reverse crescendo kind of sound. Really cool. Some synthesizer stuff. Yeah, it's agitated. So just really, it's still not heavy, it's still light. And because of that, it's still balanced. If it were any heavier, it would have taken away from the first part and I would have been disappointed. It would have seemed out of place, but this is still balanced. It's not as beautiful in the dreamy sense of it. It's more agitated. Okay, but I think it needs to be there. I think it needs to tell part of the story, and that could be different for everybody. So if you know why this is there for this piece, let me know. Okay, but let's continue on. I want to hear how we get out of the doldrums and back into the recap of the A section, the beginning. Hear the piano? Big. Yeah, that. It's bringing back those lower notes. slows down just a bit. Okay, we hear the piano. Love it. But now we're hearing the guitar sounds. It's all together. And the bass. Excellent. Yeah, and then it just fades away. The ship just sails away, or the memory just sails away, whatever you choose to look at it. All right. Well, this is neat. Okay, that was Ripples by Genesis. It did not disappoint. I feel like I continue to get to know this group better and better. And I know that there is some debate out there about Peter Gabriel's contribution to the group. And I know this is like right when he exited. I am sort of looking at it with a fresh eye here. And so my take on this is that I don't necessarily hear something missing, but I'm also still getting to know Peter Gabriel's fingerprint. So maybe once I get to know that, maybe I'll notice what actually is missing here. But until then, I really enjoyed this. It was beautiful. It had a neat, touching subject matter, I think. I caught on to what that was about. And it was balanced, it was consistent, and it was made of good musical stuff. Enough that it was hearkening back to some of my classical knowledge. And it was still kind of chaotic and still really weird. And that's what I'm getting to love with Genesis. It's sort of chaos within organization somehow. And it's really fun to listen to. So will this go on my playlist? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to listen to this a lot. I love especially that opening A section, the first half. And I love how it comes back. And I love the B section too. It's also really good. But the A section really sort of made my heart go pitter-patter just a little bit. It just really was beautiful. I can see myself craving listening to it. So yeah, it'll go on my playlist and it will fill my days here with beauty. So very much looking forward to it. Okay, so don't forget to do all the things, like and subscribe. And as always, just remember that you don't have to be perfect, just be okay. And keep listening.